Hey man, if you're over 50 and you want to start trying to get a little bit of muscle, you've been hearing me talk about getting some strength, getting a little muscle. This video is for you. The question is doing body weight exercises worth it? 1,000,000% yes, it's worth it. When I was a kid, I'm saying a kid, 10, 11, 12 years old, all the way through high school, I was a skinny guy. But I started doing push-ups and pull-ups and all that stuff at a young age. I think I got a little 110-pound weight set, one of those plastic ones, when I was about 13, 14 years old, somewhere around in there. And I used that off and on, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I would try to lift a little weight over my head, and I would try to do some curls and stuff like that, and that was about it. Nothing wrong with that. I was doing something. My high school, when I'm playing football and stuff, I started playing football when I was like 7 or 8 years old in Little League. Even though I was a runt, I could run. I was all right, not great, I was all right. And I was a way better baseball player. But I wanted to grow desperately. I knew to get a scholarship in baseball that I needed to grow. 145-pound shortstops weren't in great demand, no matter how fast you were. And I did push-ups and sit-ups constantly. We had a little universal machine. I guess some of you remember what those were, with some cables and stuff. And my senior year, we got 2 benches. And I would come in and lift on that, but of course I wasn't lifting a whole lot of weight, and none of us really knew what we were doing. Well, I go in the Marine Corps when I get out of high school, and to get ready for the Marine Corps, I did tremendous amounts of running. I think some days I would do 1,000 push-ups, all throughout the day, just constantly doing them. I would do sit-ups. My running was really good. Then when I was in the Marine Corps, when I had my children, or actually after I got out, and we had moved back to South Carolina, at night I started something that I did for many, many years. Every commercial, I would get down and do push-ups, or I would do sit-ups, or by then I think crunches came around in the early mid-'80s, and I started doing crunches. But my daughter would climb on my back. At the time, she's 3 or 4 years old, and I would do push-ups with her on my back. And I'm out of the Marine Corps at that time. I had joined the Army and National Guard, and I was just a fitness guy. I always believed in being fit, and I didn't have money to go to a gym until later. About 7 or 8 years later, I started going to the YMCA. But I would just do things to stay in shape. I did a lot of running. Now, when I was in the Marine Corps, I ran a marathon. I ran several half marathons, 10Ks. I was in the All-Marine Sports program, and I lived in a house with 4 other guys who were also in the All-Marine Sports program. They were all track guys, and they got me into really, really running. Really, a skinny guy like me didn't need to run that much, but I did start putting on a little bit of weight. I was on the All-Marine fast-pitch softball team. They didn't have a baseball team, so I was on the fast-pitch softball team for 2 years. And we all lived in a house together, the 4 or 5 of us. And so I would run with them, because they would run 2 or 3 times a day. It was crazy. And when you're in the All-Marine Sports program, you're not in your unit. You are dedicated to your program. Like fast-pitch softball, we play in 2 leagues, and we played a tournament every single weekend from April 1st all the way until Labor Day, which was always the national championships, which I was fortunate enough the Marine Corps, the military teams, got invited to that. So I was fortunate enough to get to do that for 2 years. So it was a lot of fun, but I stayed in shape there because of us practicing every day and doing stuff. And I started going to the gym a little bit. But where did I really start lifting weights? You're not going to believe this. I went to Panama at Fort Howard on a 1-year tour, and I met a guy down there from Massachusetts, and he was younger than me. He's a pretty nice, he's a big guy, 6'4", 210 pounds or something, a lot bigger than me. And I started going to the gym, lifting with him. And we would eat chow, and then we would go immediately with no break to the gym because it was so crowded. And I really got into lifting heavier. And I had always wanted to gain weight all my life. And I had been taking some protein powder and stuff, and he told me about creatine. I'm like, what in the world is that? Well, I wish I would have known about creatine earlier, because that's one thing that your body makes, and you will actually, it works. You will put on muscle if you're lifting. Now, if you take it thinking you're going to put on muscle and don't do anything, it's going to go to the old gut. But back then I was running so much and doing so many things, that started my love affair with weights when I was 36 years old. Man, I wish I'd have known about this when I was 15, 16 years old. Since then, I've been lifting all my life. I've had periods where I've injured and torn rotator cuff and other injuries. And first year that I was in Iraq, the first year we didn't get to lift too much. The second year, we had more equipment and stuff, and I had kind of a regular routine. But throughout my entire life, now at 66, I talk about last year, my body really developed. Of course, I retired at 56, and from 56, about 57 and a half, I gained all that weight, eating terribly, trying to stay awake all night driving to make money after I had retired. And then I lost the weight at 58, I lost it pretty quickly, and after 3 or 4 months, I decided I want to get a six-pack. And I lost a little bit more weight, and I learned how to get leaner, even leaner, and I developed a pretty good six-pack. And I'm 66 now, so from the ages of about 58 and a half or so to now, I've always had a six-pack, a little bit of a six-pack. And sometime in the summertime, it'll be nicer. I'll lean out. But this year, I put on some muscle. Yes, at 65, 66 years old, I put on a couple pounds of muscle. It's very noticeable to me. It's very noticeable to people that I work out with. And I work more than they say. I work out more than they say someone my age should work out. I do a lot. I'm at the gym 5 or 6 days a week, but I get breaks because I go hiking up in the mountains, which I'm hoping to go next week or the week after, and do some hiking. And when I do some hiking, I'm hiking. I'm working on cardio and different things, and climbing mountains and up and down mountains. And I found out that I loved hiking. I found this out about 1.5 years ago. And I went to a lot of state parks, did a lot of walking last year. And now I do combinations of things. I didn't work out for almost 2 months during Christmas. I got to go to the gym a couple days because we were up in, I spent time at my daughter's in Sacramento. We went to Lake Tahoe. I went to my daughter's in California. We went back to Lake Tahoe for another 9 or 10 days. And then I went home. And I was eating badly. But let me tell you something you may find hard to believe. I find it kind of hard to believe, but I've known this for a few years because I have been eating clean pretty much 8 years. I was in Mexico. I lived in Mexico for 6 years, and I ate very, very clean there, way better than I eat here. I've been back here for 1.5 years, and I don't eat near as good as I did when I was in Mexico. And I kind of missed that, but I'm going to Vietnam in May, and I know I'll get back into eating really clean again. Something about in the U.S., you got to really force yourself to eat clean. But anyway, what I was going to say is I can go months, but I've never been more than I was this past year, these 2 months, with eating a lot of junk, with not getting a whole lot of exercise. Did do some walking out in the snow and stuff in Tahoe, in ice, but I just don't gain any weight. I only gained like 2 pounds. And I know when I gain a couple pounds, I know exactly what to do to get that weight off. I'll do some fasting. I'll do 16 and 8, or I'll even go past 16 hours. I'll do some fasting and get that weight off very quickly in a week or so. I'll get those couple pounds off. But my body, I think, because of all the stuff I've done for so many years, and then the clean eating adding on to it, even though I gained that 35 pounds for a year, I got it off very quickly. And I think the reason I got it off very quickly was because I gained it quickly. And I believe there's some science to that I read. But I just, my metabolism is really fast at 65, 66. I just don't put on, thankfully, I can eat, I don't eat, if I eat bad for a while, it doesn't affect me. Now, the average person who's my age, if they ate like I ate for those 2 months I was in California, man, I don't know how much weight they would have put on. And I was gone for 3 months during past summer, 2024, when I was visiting all the national parks. And a few times I stayed where there was gyms. In 3 months, I probably got to work out 12 to 15 days. But then I was hiking almost daily. And it was heat and hot. I was hiking almost daily. So you can just use your body weight, which I did for years and years, from time I'm a teenager until I was about 28, 29, where I could afford to go to a gym. 28 or so, where I started going to a gym, not afford it, but where I was in a position where we lived where I could go to a gym. There were no gyms in my small town back then. I started going to the gym and working out, and then I took the tour in Panama, and I really fell in love. And then almost immediately after Panama, within a year, I did a 2-year tour in Italy, which was fantastic. A lot of travel, like going to see places on weekends. I worked hard, but I had all my weekends off, and I went to the gym daily. And I worked out really, really hard there. And I actually PT'd with a unit there at the base I was at, or the fort I was at in Italy. I would go PT with them 3 days a week, and they would run around town and up a hill and down and all this. And my colonel, who was in charge of me when I was in Italy, he knew that I was older than most of those guys, those full-time active duty Army guys. And he said, I want you out there PT, and I want you leading the way, show them how to do it. I'm like, sir, I don't really want to do, I'm like, what, I was like 38 then, and I'm like, 38, 39, I'm like, sir, I kind of do my own thing working out. I don't really want to run with those guys, but, he said, nah, come on out there. I want you out there. I'll be checking to make sure you're out there with those guys running. And I'm like, okay, sir, I'll do the run. Yes, start with body weight exercises. I'm going to do a video on nothing but body weight exercises, showing you how to do them. Start with whatever you can do and build up. I went 20 years, 25 years before I really started lifting weights at the age of 36. Didn't lift until 36, and my body started changing like crazy. And from 65 to 66 it changed, and it's pretty miraculous. And it's going to be even better by this summer. You guys have a great one. Like the video, I hope, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'll talk to you later.